What's going on, people? It is Irish Gunner HD here. You can call me Irish, and welcome to episode 25 of Will It Drift. So, today's car is the Vauxhall VX220, and it was suggested by BD. Not sure which team you're on now, dude, so I don't know what the prefix is to that, but however. So, as standard, the car comes with 197 horsepower, 179 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs 2,050 pounds. Now, it's based off the Lotus Elise, so I would personally expect it to be like very grippy, very agile and stuff like that, and that is pretty much spot on. Like, that's pretty much exactly how I found it to be. It's great off the line. It basically just grips up and goes. Like, there's no wheel spin, there's no nothing, but at the same time, it doesn't have a load of horsepower to spin the wheel. So, yeah, but there was little to no body roll, which was a good thing. It's always the case in the first step, or in the first build of Will It Drift. In the stock builds, the cars usually have a load of body roll and just kind of flibber flobber left and right. This just wasn't the case, which was pretty good. It actually seemed pretty perfectly set up for what it was aiming to do as like a straight line race car. It is mid-engine though. That's something I should keep in mind. It's mid-engine rear-wheel drive, so the less than 200 horsepower it does need to be bumped up because the car does tend to kind of. It will get to a certain stage and then it will just kind of give up and it'll grip up and grip the road. But it's very, very fun. That's like without doubt. And that's something I noticed in every stage of the build. It's very, very fun. It just needs a bit more power, a bit more of my own like tuning tweaks, and it'll be a very fun little car. The medium build though has 270 horsepower, 222 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs 1,827 pounds. And the modifications that I did just to kind of bump it up a bit were the sport camshafts, race springs and weight reduction, all drivetrain to race, and the sport single turbo. Now, I want to preface this by saying that it is very, very fun, regardless of the fact that there might have been like little bits and pieces wrong. It was still, regardless, a very, very fun car. As you can see by the damage on the back of the car there, it's quite a bit harder to control than the stock build. Having a little bit extra horsepower just kind of makes it a little more unruly. And it does feel a little bit too stiff because, as I said, in the stock build, it felt like it was perfectly set up. It felt like it really didn't need too much more work done. But as ever, I always just put the race springs and weight reduction on just to stiffen it up just in case. And that just added a bit too much. So as far as the power goes and the torque and stuff, it was there in second gear. That was pretty much fine second gear. But third, it was only like you could kind of, if you were already in high revs, third would be okay. But once it dropped down below a certain limit, the kind of power just went away. I'd really like to just get my hands on the gearing ratios and tweak them a little bit, because as you could see, it was kind of struggling to make the long sweeper in the middle. But there's really nothing wrong with it. And so in the full build, I've put it all the way up with a full build and tune. It's up to 401 horsepower, 401 foot-pounds of torque. Also, that's like getting to be fairly common now. I've done quite a few episodes now where the horsepower and torque have matched. And it weighs 2,178 pounds. Sorry. And the final thoughts are, again, it's super, super fun. Whatever I say, whether it does drift or whether it doesn't drift or perhaps or whatever, definitely try it out, because it is just a very fun car to mess around with on your own. It's very fast, it's very nimble, it's very agile. Again, being based on the Lotus Elise, or Exige, I think some people call it. Being based on that, it's always going to be very nimble, very quick. But the sensation of speed that you get when you're driving it is just incredible. Like, it's like nothing that I've seen in a long time. It does keep the thing of being very unruly and quite hard to control, though, to try and keep sideways. I'm again putting that down to the fact that it's based on an Elise. It's based on a mid-engine rear-wheel drive car. It does have all these weird, like, kind of intricate details that make it not exactly ideal for drifting. But you have to drive it carefully. That was the main thing. As long as you drive it carefully, you don't always put your foot to the floor and just mash it. While it does mean that you're going to be a bit slower, you're not going to be always on the power. That's what I found was the best way to make it drift. Will it drift though? Yes, I think that you could perfectly reasonably, with a little more effort and a little more work and some more refinements to the tune and stuff like that, and the right driving style, I think you could very easily take this into public online lobbies and stuff, and hang with any kind of Sylvia or any other kind of weird bizarre car that wouldn't be like a Supra or a Skyline. As usual, that's kind of like the top grade that you can hope to achieve if you're a Will It Drift candidate, shall we say? Like that's pretty much what you're aiming for. You're pretty much aiming to just to be like a really good mid-level drifter. Like, you're never gonna, like, most cars that I do in Will It Drift aren't always going to keep up with the Skylines and Supras and Camaros and V8 cars and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.